here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We're kicking this best of 7 show match off on Frost and spawning in the northwest position as the red Terran player from Team Millennium. It is none other than Dayshi. Thank you, kind sir. It was a little bit more difficult for me to find a Terran player to play in this show match. Wasn't really too many people. The big point of the players that we've chosen was to have as equal of a skill representation as possible, so that, well, basically your arguments can be more related towards the changes in the patch and not, hey, this guy's clearly not good enough to be testing against this guy. And with a lot more results recently, we've heard a lot more about our Protoss player in recent times in the southeast position, the teal Protoss player from Team Root Gaming. It is Minigun, and he's done actually incredibly well. PVT especially, he has just won the finals, I guess the final show match of the Ender's Game on Blu-ray StarCraft 2 tournament. He defeated Masa 4-3, and it was a clutch series for sure. So Minigun, definitely no stranger to this matchup. Dayshi, on the other hand, I have not seen play in quite a while. I do believe he tried to qualify for WCS Europe, might have made it into Challenger League, but I've honestly been sleeping pretty much entirely through those hours, so it's okay. It's my excuse. And Dayshi, we see choosing to open up with a command center first, already showing he doesn't feel like he has to Reaper Scout this game. And on Frost cross spawns, I feel like this is definitely the most difficult map to try to bring any type of early aggression on, but not necessarily bad for macro play, even pre-patch for Terran players. And just to quickly reiterate, as we do have the game going, actually he's not even mining gas. Minigun playing pretty greedily himself. To reiterate the changes that will be affecting our Terran versus Protoss match here, this best of 7. The Mothership Core has had its sight range reduced to that of, I believe it's actually just a normal unit. It's not even observer level anymore. It has 9 vision range, and the blink ability cooldown was changed from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. So it's a little bit more difficult to use blinks one after another. And the Widowmine has received a splash damage buff. It does a little bit more damage to Protoss units. Its splash has an additional 40 versus shields. So units like Zealots would lose all of their shields basically before taking any real damage if hit by the splash of a Widowmine. Only the closest splash of the Widowmine. So far this game does look pretty normal. Nothing really out of the ordinary. Minigun was able to get his Nexus up pretty quickly, which is very nice for him since the Orbital Command is just finished up. They'll both be able to start producing workers at the same time. Mothership Core is about to pop out for Minigun as this SCV scouts for Dayshi, and he didn't really see anything too bad. He missed one of the pylons. He hasn't actually seen any pylons on the map, so he doesn't know for a fact that Minigun isn't doing something like a 2-base hidden attack. And you can already see this. Mothership Core can't see too much outside of the base, but the probe for Minigun will reach Dayshi's base. These Marines are already here to deflect it, and that's actually pretty big deal. Minigun does not know exactly what Dayshi is up to, and you can only really assume that Terran players would still, there's not really much of a change to the Photon Overcharge or any defensive capabilities of the Protoss. So I find it hard to believe that Minigun would expect Dayshi to get aggressive, especially on a map like this, because the Photon Overcharge can cover the main base ramp with relative ease. It's not the biggest main base in the StarCraft 2 ladder map pool, but Minigun is opting for a 2-base Stargate play, so we'll still be able to see potentially some Oracle harass, some second level aggression. Dayshi will need to keep this in mind. He starts his engineering base, scans the main, and does not see the Stargate. He sees, okay, well, you have a gateway, you're researching Warp Gate, but you weren't even making anything out of that gateway until I scanned, and the Oracle is on the way. Minigun is going to try to get Minigun is going to try to get himself some damage done with an Oracle. The factory is just beginning, And these are all pretty standard timings for Dayshi, especially off a command center first. This is one of those openings that when you do, you feel pretty good. You don't really have too much to worry about. And the missile turret is building in the front of the natural, just in case, because he doesn't know, because he didn't open with the Reaper, he doesn't have a way to really get that good second level scout. And Minigun behind this Oracle is actually just going to build a third Nexus. So he's being pretty greedy. He's saying, I don't necessarily care to be, you know, absurdly aggressive. That's not really Minigun's style. But I do care to be greedy if I can use my other units that maybe haven't been hit with a Nerf bat to attack you. And actually just runs in. There are only 4 Marines here, so the Oracle can pick them off without too much trouble. A few more Marines do pop out. Missile turret gets a shot off. The Oracle will retreat. 5 kills under its belt, though. Not too bad. And we have the starport beginning. And Dayshi's actually building a Widow Mine. He canceled an add-on to get a Widow Mine, potentially to help defend his production setup and pick off that Oracle if it gets too close. But Minigun has started a Twilight Council and a Forge, and he's actually getting Blink. Now, this is actually one of those situations where the Blink is not intended to be used aggressively, at least most often in Protoss versus Terran. If you're taking a fast third base, opting for something like Blink is nice since you can jump between your main base and your third easily. It's more defensive to catch early drop play or any bio movements that are kind of skirting around the map. It's very difficult to do anything like a 3-base Blink aggression since Stimpack will be done. There'll be medevacs out on the map. And Dayshi, he's building his second Widow Mine. It's actually not getting an add-on for the starport just yet. No third base. Minigun is adding on a ton of production now, moving up to 8 gateways. She's just 7. I'm still blind. Another sentry coming in. So this is still just pretty standard greedy play for Minigun. This isn't necessarily bad to do, though. He knows his opponent went for the fast expand, and he also knows that Minigun doesn't have too many options to be, Dayshi doesn't have too many options to be aggressive. So just 1 drop with 2 Widow Mines. There's a photon cannon in each mineral line for Minigun, though. And that will make things a bit difficult as he starts a cannon in his 3rd mineral line as well. And this probe moving towards the top right might even see the medevac if he goes over it, while Dayshi moves out to a battalion of Marines and Marauders. And medevac does clip by that probe, and did Chad Jones see it? Yes. Minigun's moving his stalkers and his sentries back to the natural. Wants to be careful, doesn't want to get caught off guard by any potential mine play, and there they come. The first one burrows. Can it get it shot off? Nope. Shut down, and that's what I was talking about. The defensive Blink ability, and the mine does burrow, which is pretty nice. At the same time, the push is coming towards the 3rd. He does have some sentries. The Mothership Core has enough energy for 2 photon overcharges. And he still has the Oracle as well to use Revelation if he needs it. This mine is just going to camp here for a little while. This photon cannon makes moving into the 3rd natural very difficult. The Marines get force fielded off. Good attack from Minigun to deal, well, I guess, good shove out to deal with this attacking force. And the Stalkers blink forward. He would love to get this medevac. And Dayshi's actually being pretty aggressive still, trying to chew away at these units as much as he can. He's just started this 3rd base up. It'll be done in about 30 seconds. No orbital just yet. Stalkers blink forward, grab the medevac, and he's going to try to keep chasing the force. Time warps the Marines and Marauders. He barely manages to slip out. A few more forces streaming across the map, but Minigun has a rather large force now, and Dayshi's forced to retreat. He's up to 5 barracks, though. A reactored factory with his starport, so we're seeing him mix some Widow Mines in, it seems, to his army composition. And I do like this a lot. The Widow Mine change is pretty nice. He tried to move it towards the natural mineral line, but the Stalkers were there to pick it off. And Dayshi trying to use the mine change is interesting. I'm kind of wondering what army composition Minigun will go for. He's just now starting to add in a lot more zealots. This is actually kind of what I was waiting to see, because this is what the Widow Mine should be able to be most effective against. There's still no robotics facility on the map, and without a robotics facility, there's very fragile manner of way how to deal with the Widow Mines. So you can place them down, run behind them as you retreat from the attacking force. And as long as you don't let them get picked off, moving them in front of your army, I think it could be an interesting attempt to use them. Storm is just about to finish. It's not done yet, though, so this is one last attempt, one last little window that Dayshi has to attack before that area of effect damage is out on the map. And the Zealots are doing a good job of tanking the damage. There's the first Storm. It's done. +2 armor about to finish as well. Dayshi does have +2 attack on the way. And there are 2 Widow Mines here. Oh, walks right over. You can see those Zealots take a lot more damage. Quite bruised by the Widowmine Assault. At the same time, Miniguns managed to slip a few Zealots into the natural expansion of Dayshi. Cleaved apart a few SCVs. He's killed 9 in total this game, including the Oracle from earlier on. So not too much damage done with this attack, but certainly annoying. That pylon, a great way to reinforce, and hits the third base as well, but nothing doing there. As Dayshi starts his Ghost Academy, continuing the mine production. And I do like this. Just keeping them out here. Without a robotics facility, Chad Jones can't move out too much. His options are a little bit limited as far as the directions that he can go. So we do still have a few more mines mixed in. And I don't think you need too many mines. Just a couple with the area of effect damage buff that they were given. So he's moving forward now, taking the tower, mine burrowing. There's a lot of Zealots here. He does need to be careful. There are about 8 Templar with Storms. And that is quite a scary force too. Like this Minigun's already saying to himself, okay, I'd like to actually bait these Widowmine shots out, sending individual Zealots forward. And that's really nice. Sending just one at a Zealot at a time is not a bad way, but look at this. The splash really helping to clean this force up, and Minigun all of a sudden having some trouble. The problem here is that if you send just one Zealot forward, the Marines and Marauders can pick it off without too much trouble, and then suddenly these Templar are exposed. The rest of the units back at home for Minigun are being sent forward, and we're seeing some pretty good use of these mines. I'm really pleased to see Dayshi kind of playing around with the new patch. And here comes the rest force from Minigun. There's the Storm dropping. There's still no Ghost with this army. The mines do burrow, and a lot of damage on these Zealots. A Zealot-heavy army has been completely diffused. Another huge warping of charge lots. This Templar moving in from the north. Dayshi will retreat to the left side. A lot of these mines are still burrowed. There's no observer with this force yet. Picks off a photon cannon. He's just going to load up his army and try to boost over towards that main base. These Widow mines get off cooldown, and he runs out. This could make things a little bit dicey. The next force is approaching towards that third base area. Dayshi gets dropped in the main base. He's going to snipe the Templar Archives. No, deciding to go for these Stalkers that are being warped in. Wants to keep his Medivacs alive instead. The Warp Prison being used defensively by Minigun in this situation. The Stalkers do jump forward, but there's too much bile here from Dayshi. He's moving in towards the third base as well, planting these Widow Mines to cover his tracks. And now, he's just miring his heart out, moving the Medivacs over towards the natural. Good feedback, but a couple of these Marines and Marauders still alive, barely escaping. Actually, that Medivac has 6 hit points, 1 shot away from dying from a Stalker. The Zealots are attacking, but the Widow Mines are here to cover the retreat. Picking off those Zealots. Just a Stalker now to fight the Marines and Marauders. The drop finally cleaned up in the natural. Only 1 Medivac loaded up. 2 very low health will escape. And these mines, they've dug themselves into a nice entrenched position between this place, and just look how much damage it actually does to these Zealots. This is really interesting to see the kind of effect that it can have. Might even be, I almost feel like it might be too much damage the Widow Mines are able to add on to the Zealots at this point, but snipes that 4th Nexus, and Dayshi making the most of his units, running away towards the northeast, continuing to chase, and he's still producing quite a few Widow Mines. The Widow Mine count now for this Terran versus Protoss is up to 15, and he's spread them out reasonably well so that they can't be affected by area of effect damage. There's finally an observer on the map, so Dayshi can start to clean these up, but without the Drilling Claws upgrade, it'll be quite difficult, but scans and the observer gets killed by the Widow Mine. Pretty good play by Dayshi. He does have Ghosts now mixed into his army composition, and the Temple Archives is being rebuilt, but that robotics facility kind of has to keep pumping out observers. He does not even have the robotics support bay, so he cannot get his Colossi out. Zealot harass at this 4th of Dayshi. He's trying to pick off a few more SCVs if he can. Still has not actually broken that 9 workers killed mark. Widow Mines are still taking some pot shots. Her couple detonations. And this Widow Mine's got 10 kills. Zealot harass at the 3rd base at the same time, and Minigun doing a little bit. Actually still has not killed any more workers than he did in the first 15 minutes of this game, so he's trying to poke, not having the most luck, and the Widow Mine, before it dies, still picking off units. This is really annoying to deal with. I think, no, he didn't get the next observer, but I actually think the Widow Mine one-shots observers with splash now too, which is also important to consider. If your observer is on top of your Zealot, it doesn't actually need to scan because the 40 shield damage will also apply to the air units as well. And Dayshi's pushing out towards the center of the map. I'm really liking these Widow Mines that have been mixed in. It feels like the damage is a lot, but I also think that the Widow Mines probably are most effective against this particular composition because they don't have the range of the Colossi to pick off the mines. You don't want to waste Storms, so you're kind of forced to use Zealots and Stalkers, which both really get inside range of the Widow Mine. Stalkers just barely outside, but that also allows for the Bioforce to attack your Zealots directly. EMPs, the Observer picks it off with the Ghost, and he does have a good number of Ghosts. Moving towards this 4th base position of Minigun, he's attempting to rebuild. Minigun at the same time sends some Zealots to harass the northwest. And, oh, good storm. Pushes the army back. A couple of these mines have been damaged. There's still a few of them, and he blinks forward. One mine picks off a Stalker. That blink cooldown is quite... you know, it's funny to consider the ramifications in the macro game of the blink nerf. But that blink cooldown being a little bit longer means that jumping forward, you don't have an opportunity to blink away from the Widow Mine attack. Which was, you know, that's not actually something I considered when I was thinking about this patch. But the first Colossus is on the field. Extended Thermal Lance is on the way. And this is really cool because I think the Colossi acts as a much better counter to a Widow Mine playstyle. But you have to take into consideration that most Protoss players like to open up with the Storm these days. And I just think it's a great way to force a different play in meta. As range is not finished yet, Dayshi's attempting to push through this force. Did EMP a few of this Templar, but there's a couple Storms left. Storms from the south. Has a Storm coming in from the northeast. The Ghost not in position to block him. The Widow Mines are attempting to cover the retreat. Picks off a few of the Zealots, dealing some good shield damage as well. Actually does quite a chunk of damage to the Archons with the splash. And Dayshi needs to keep these mines spread, or he could kill them very quickly with the Storms or the Colossi. They do manage to burrow and get a good couple of shots off, though. And these Zealots are taking a lot of pain from this Bio Army. Continue to move forward. That Drilling Claws upgrade, surprisingly useful in this matchup with the double factory production. And Dayshi gets a good spread on this force, but range is not done for the Colossus. The Zealots are trying to attack. There's still a good number of Ghosts mixed in. 3-3 is about to finish for Dayshi. Moves in, snipes the Robotic Support Bay. No Colossus range for you. EMPs the Zealots, snipes the last Templar. And Minigun GG's out. Dayshi takes game number 1 in the Kappa Star League Balance Test Show match.